the women will feel like, you want to trade me for that? But no, he doesn't want to trade. He just wants to mate short term on the side with someone who's very easy to mate with. So he can have other children for cheap while still investing everything in you. So in the woman's brain, if she cheated, it would be to trade up. So that's
Yes.
the process going on for her, and she's projecting that onto him.
Can we talk about the specific thing, shadow work? So it's
Yes.
the idea of thinking about thinking. This was just because it's one of these situations where sometimes people will make mean videos about my friends or about me, and my
Hmm.
initial reaction is to react to them and to say horrible things about their family and their mother and et cetera, et
Oh,
cetera.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
what I did instead was when I remember I was seeing that video, just thinking like, what was the trauma they went through? What are the biases that that they have in their mind? What are it's like, oh, like I said before, academia may be having an effect on the way date psych and the way Mac and Murphy view the world. I understand that. Me as a Protestant cisgendered Christian from Texas caused
Yeah.
me to probably more likely join the military. I'm more likely I join the military because I'm from Texas. That I understand. I'm aware of that bias. I'm a fan
Yeah.
of the University of Texas and not the University of Oklahoma. I'm a Cowboys fan and I'm not an Eagles fan. I grasp thinking where do my biases come from, and I just wondered if you
Yeah.
could go into this, because I really do. Even though I think it'd be a lot more boring on YouTube, I think it would be a lot better as far as communication if more of us did this.
Yeah, I mean, I did make a video about this recently, and it really crushed. Like, it did over 1 million views, I think, in a week.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's been going really well. Like, there's a lot of people interested in self development, which is great because that's what I do. The dating stuff is kind of like the way that I want to get into self development. I'm
Yeah.
applying it to dating right now, which is awesome and very much fun. But this is just my diagram that I printed out on a coffee cup. It's not within reach, but I bought it. I'm buying my own merchandise. Um, this is just my depiction of it. It's like wherever you are and whatever you're doing, like right here now, I'm on a podcast and I'm explaining what I'm doing. And why am I doing that? Well, it's a really great opportunity. This guy knows what he's doing. He knows all the right people. I want the exposure. Well, why do I want the opportunity? Well, because it's going to be really great for my career and it's going to give me a lot of exposure. And why do I want this career and all the exposure? Well, because it's going to advance my goals of helping people to change themselves and of getting me money. And why do I want to change people and to get money? Well, to make their lives better and to make my life better. And why do we need to do that? Well, it's because I've heard people having these bad experiences. It always comes down
Interesting.
to, you start in the present moment and then you end in a former present moment.
Hmm.
It's always it's always, I've been treated poorly by women. And then I learned how not to. And so that's like, that made me think and think and think and think and think until I got here. And it's like, that was the start of it. You have to be able to trace what your basic motivations are. It always comes
Hmm.
down to sensations and feelings and emotions. And I don't like it that people are going through this. Like, there's these perfectly good guys who can't get girls to pay attention to them at all.
Yeah.
And so now I'm here trying to give them the skills to do that. And I have had a really hard time making money, and this is working for me. And so now I'm here doing that. And sometimes it takes multiple steps of understanding yourself in order to get what you're doing. There are some diagrams that I have of people not thinking about thinking properly and then learning to. There was a girl in particular who was looking at her phone. There it is. And she saw some influencer saying, man bad or whatever. And then she started looking at the man in her life and saying, well, if the man on the phone is bad, and I believe the influencer about it, then maybe this man is bad. So then what do I do about the situation? These are the stages. And she was stopping right there. She felt something because she saw it. Just a direct experience. And she was like, oh, that makes me feel an emotion. Is that emotion also going to come from my boyfriend? Maybe. What do I do to prevent it? And then she's causing trouble in the relationship. When she got to therapy, she was instructed to, hey, take a step back, ask yourself if this is the correct process. Like what I just did with the taking steps back until I figured out that I'm here for my money and to help people learn traits. I think both of those are good things. When she took a step back, it's like, is this a good process of decision making? Well, no. Well, why not? How do I know it isn't, and what do I do about it? You need to take these subconscious processes that we all have and make them conscious. And that's what thinking about thinking is. It's going to the deep basic experience and making it something that you're consciously aware of and can operate on, which is, basically what I'm drawing out in these charts.
Yeah, I mean, from a leadership's perspective, like me being in the military, that right there, thinking about the motivation of why people do things is such
Hmm.
an important leadership component. Great book about this, the dichotomy of leadership, and by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. It really, really goes over that stuff. It's really great. Go if you could go back to the one with the brain, the first one you
Yeah.
showed me. There's
Yeah.
one. So I've tried doing this, but there's one level that I added, and it's the level
Yeah.
of the book behind me, and that level is. I'll wait till you get there.
Yeah. There it
That
is.
level is, what did my ancestors need this motivation
Yeah.
for in
Yeah.
order for them to aid in their survival? And that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, for instance, if it's outrageous levels of jealousy, mate guarding, which was a necessity for some men throughout our evolutionary history, I can say to myself, this is a neurochemical reaction that is happening because my ancestors had something that happened similar, and when they were not studious, when they were not fastidious over their mates, they were having some other man's kid. So I
Yes.
understand where that comes from. But the other part is like, why? So this is just my personal belief, and I've heard Dr. Buss briefly mention this. I believe the highest level for men is for men to achieve goals with other people. For not specifically men and women too, but like men coming to. There's a reason why the Super Bowl is the most watched single television show in the world. It's because watching groups of people accomplish things together, to me, the highest reward I've ever gotten is when I have a client who we work together to achieve a goal for him. And I think
Yeah.
that may be, from an evolutionary standpoint, again, you and me go out 50,000 years ago and we work together. I flush out the gazelle and then you stab him. You see what I'm saying? We
Yeah.
work together and then we bring home the meat, and the entire tribe is cheering us on because they've been starving. That type of evolutionary response of us working together in order to achieve a goal, I think, is the highest form for men. That's just my opinion. That I think that's the highest part. That's the reason why when human beings don't socialize, they go crazy. That's why you see people when they go into isolation, they go crazy because they need socialization they need feedback from other human beings. So I love this right here. This is something very similar to what I use, but there's a final one where, what did my ancestor need 50,000 years ago in order to get to where he's getting?
Yeah, so that would the process that I described, you would just add education about the way that our brain is constructed.
Sure.
So I have it started from the front of the brain going towards the back because that's where those processes are located.
The amygdala,
So
yeah.
yeah, even if you don't understand evolutionary psychology, it still helps to figure out what your motivations are. But if you can understand them in the context of why do I have this urge from an evolutionary perspective and why is it useful? Like, women need to understand that when men are drawn to, look at other women, something that women have been telling me a lot is that men will cheat with someone who's kind of like not very high quality.
Mm-hmm.
He will marry a woman who's really high quality and then cheat with someone who's not high quality. And the women will feel like, you want to trade me for that? But no, he doesn't want to trade. He just wants to mate short term on the side with someone who's very easy to mate with. So he can have other children for cheap while still investing everything in you. So in the woman's brain, if she cheated, it would be to trade up. So
Yes.
that's the process going on for her, and she's projecting that onto him. If you're cheating, it must be because you're trading up. But understanding the differences between our brains and how they're constructed can help us process those things a lot better, so we don't have to misunderstand each other and fight with each other about things like that. Like when a guy gets caught looking, it doesn't mean I don't like you and I like her. It just means I was not paying attention for a moment and I looked at something nice.
Yeah.
And I can't, yeah.
So-
Oops,
so
sorry.
It's
Yeah.
funny because, caveat back to something we were talking about before, this might be the reason why the lesbian divorce rate is so much higher than the homosexual male divorce rate, is because what you said before, the men understood, like, a man cheats, but the other man is aware. It's like, oh, but I am aware that I can have sex and separate that from feelings, whereas women can't do that. They don't do it as easily. And so I think the understanding that these two men, because they're still men, even if they're gay, they're still men, they're still going to have this issue.